Let's go over this again. 50 cars, 50 drivers. 3 classes, 1 champion each. Racing in a variety of race formats and locations. Braving the constantly changing conditions and competition. All for a shot at the fame and glory of being the champion. Welcome to HSR Motorsport GT3 series. Is it easy racing against these guys? I don't think so. Indecision can cause chaos on the racetrack, while confidence can result in perfection. Drivers will push each other to the limits and beyond. The champion rises through the ranks to take the ultimate glory. Battles will be fought, won and lost, as drivers fight on tracks all across the globe. There will be fear, pain and loss. There will be courage, pride and triumph. Mistakes will be made, and their consequences could be dire. Precision and skill can only be noticed in the very best. This is racing. This is what we love and do. The question is, what will you do? Hello and welcome to the HSR Motorsport GT3 Season 4 Championship. Today you join us for round 5 here at a soaking wet Hungaroring, and I do apologise for the delay. We've just had some technical issues, and it does mean that I'll be unfortunately not running at top quality. So yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. It's going to be an interesting setup. Usually I've got 2 monitors, and my second monitor's just died, so I need to try and squeeze everything onto a small monitor, and there's people moving in the background, and there's just all sorts of things happening, and yeah, it's just been rough. I had to restart as well, hence the extra time. But yeah, we are here, we are ready to go for another race, and it's the first wet race we've had, I think, in a season and a half. I think our last race that was wet in the GT3 season was the season 2 round 6 race at Alton Park, the season 2 finale, and that's where we saw Topinka attempt a last to first race, and he got up to about 9th, so not too bad. And Topinka is back in today. However, as always, he is, well, not as always, it's something completely new. He is being challenged for that top position, so yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how it will fare. He's currently P2 on the leaderboards, and I do apologise if you see the camera moving. The camera operator is also still getting used to his things. Oh, yeah, sorry, the broadcast is going a bit weird. Give me 1 second. There we go. Hopefully that works now. This is the yes, oh yeah, it's been one of those days, hasn't it? So, we are now a couple minutes into practice. We've got 30 minutes left. We're almost, well, we're a third of the way through. We only have 45 minutes of practice. So if this is your first time joining us, welcome. How this all works is we have 45 minutes of practice, followed by 20 minutes of split qualifying, where the Pro-Ams and the Am classes, they go out first for the first half of those 20 minutes, which means they get 10 minutes of qualifying, and then it's Pros for the final 10 minutes. And then today we've got a 60-minute race lined up, where the drivers have to make one mandatory pit stop for fuel, and there is a fixed pit stop time for that. However, tyres are not mandatory, so there's all that to consider as well. Couple strategy calls you can make on whether or not you decide to just leave the tyres or, you know, swap them out. It takes a little longer, of course, but it means you've got a little extra grip, and today especially I think the drivers are going to be prioritising grip as much as possible. Look at how wet that track is. So let's see if we can start following a couple guys. Let's go for... Let's see, so Lindbergh's currently in P1 in that Lamborghini, and we saw a very good performance from him last race over at... Oh my goodness, my brain is so confused right now, and it's under so much pressure because I missed all these other stuff. Okay, so Zolder. There we go. Zolder race 2. Lembergs not only took P1 for the Pro-Ams, but he took P1 overall. And not only that, his performance was enough to put him up into the Pro Class. So he suddenly finds himself in the Pro Class relatively near the bottom, unfortunately, just because of how things have happened. At the moment, he is P7 with his single race win so far. In terms of the championship standings for our pros, we have Topinka up at the top, then Rebecci, then Peters, our top three, followed closely by Jordan and then Navanios. In the Pro-Am class, it's a lot closer between Manchip, Fox and Taylor, our top three, Janssen and Pfeiffer being P4 and P5. And then you won't believe how close it is between the top four of the AM class. Rucroft, Pinnell, Lewin and Huben, all separated from each other by only a single point. So it's 1 point between Rucroft and Pinnell, 1 point between Pinnell and Lewin. That's how close this championship is at the moment in the AM class. So I think that's incredible. And then we've got Craddock, who last race just outshone everyone, taking 2 race wins. It was the double header at Zolder, of course, 2 30-minute races, and he won both of them. So it was a brilliant performance from the driver in the white McLaren, who at the moment is here on circuit. He's just not putting in some laps yet. So let's have a little wander, I wouldn't say around the paddock, because to be honest we're not in the paddock, but you know, wander around the circuit, look at the cars. We've got Jordan in the BMW, who of course got cheated out of, well, sorry, not cheated, he unfortunately lost a race win at Alton Park. He spun out on the final lap and that just cost him. However, due to a penalty, I believe, no penalty was applied. Sorry, I'm confusing that with Imola, where Rebecci managed to get past Topinka and unfortunately got a penalty in doing so. So basically he didn't win. And here is Topinka in the Lamborghini, the usual livery. Go on a livery walk. We've got Rebecci in the red McLaren, Schubert in that Ferrari hiding just behind, and he's gone for another new livery. Looks like going new liveries is his forte, and he keeps coming up with new colours. Same style, but different colours. So white, navy and green at the moment. Then we've got Morris in the red Ferrari. Nice to see him back again. Jackson in his purple and yellow Ferrari as usual. Marcy in the usual Aston Martin colours. Dutton in a different Porsche livery than usual. It's kind of like a camo black and blue and grey livery, so it's looking fairly fresh. And the yellow highlights also, they also quite help with the look. So I do quite like it. It's looking fairly impressive from Dutton as well. It's all right. The colours, I don't know. The colour match, for some of the reason, matches, even though in my head it doesn't make sense for it to match, if you get what I mean. Then Simmons has just bumped Dutton down a position. He's in the Pro-Am class, finally putting in some laps, and we saw chaos at Alton Park, this driver, and Zolder, he just didn't compete, so it's nice to see him back again. Hopefully he can make up some ground on the championship leaders. He was up there, but now he's dropped down to P6, so he's going to be fighting for position. Peters just sets a lap in a yellow and black BMW. Peters, our Season 3 champion, and he is currently P3 in the Pro Class Championship, so he's showing why he was the Season 3 champ. Now he just needs to show it to the other season champions in the Pro category. We of course do have Topinka and Rebecci in, so all 3 of our previous championship winners are all fighting for position today. Then just behind Dutton, P12, is Fox in the BMW. Again, that custom BMW livery, love it. Rucroft currently leading the AM Class Championship. He's already had 4 podiums so far and a single win. And between himself and Pinnell, who is P2 in the championship, they'll be fighting over whoever gets their second race win. But I'm sure both of them will get a podium today, and that will make 5 podium finishes for Rucroft and Pinnell if they both manage to set a podium today. And an old friend of mine has just joined, Mr. Josh Redhead. And yes, that is his actual name, Mr. Redhead, competed in the GT4 Championship, and I think he's opted to not compete in the next season. And it was very late notice for this driver. He just came in a couple hours ago. There were a couple extra spots available, and he said, okay, I'll drive. And as you can tell, he's not far behind Simmons. And yeah, Redhead also in a Mercedes, and I do have to say that is quite a nice livery, and I believe that is also in the colours of his server, his Discord server, his Discord racing team, OLR, Open Lobby Racing. Go check them out. There will be links, or you can just ask him directly, just DM him. And yeah, he's going for the colours, and I have to say it is looking stunning. We've seen some colour schemes, some liveries in the past on the GT4 side of things, but GT3, hey, and a lovely drift from Redhead. Can he hold it? No, fortunately not into the wall, but that is going to be a yellow flag on the circuit for him. But yeah, I rate it. I do quite like it. It's nice. Nice to see the OLR colours out on circuit today. Then we have Roocroft, of course, still ripping it round. Conti in the Nissan GTR, looking fresh as ever. The usual look. A little further down, we've got Pirinen. Double I, Marcus Pirinen. Not sure whether I'm saying that right, but it's also a fresh look to the Ferrari. Default style, I think. Default scheme, but new colours. White, red, blue. Love it. Then Malott down in P19. As usual, just ripping it with the new liveries. And Haveline. Oh, I love the colours. Black, orange, yellow. I do like it. I do rate that. That is quite nice. Pennell, of course, as we've heard, he's been racing quite well recently, and he's changed up his livery yet again. He was running a pink livery at Zolder last week, and now he's running an orange livery, I suspect made for him by Malott, who is just a position above him. You can see a cartoon character with two guns on the side. So Pennell chasing Roocroft for the AM Championship lead, and of course a 5th podium finish. Then we've got Curtis, and I think we've seen him race before. I think it was race 1 he was here, but we haven't seen much action from him since. He's currently in a Ford Mustang, and it's, I mean, I like the rims, I love the rims, but there's nothing else to the car, so you know, can't really comment on anything else. Then we do have Broom currently out on circuit in a BMW somewhere. It seems, no, there it is. Very similar scheme to Pennell, that's why I didn't notice it. Broom opting for a very similar scheme to a car we saw back in season 2, and I cannot remember who that was. We had a BMW driver run a very similar orange and black scheme, and unfortunately he didn't do too well. It was at Silverstone and he retired. But it seems like such a familiar livery. Anyways, moving on. Christoph, currently P24 in a blue Ferrari as per usual, his usual colour scheme. Then we've got Van Nagen in the Porsche, Craddock in the McLaren, Huben in the GTR, Taylor in the McLaren again, Alfred as usual in his lime Porsche, Lavagnos in his McLaren as well, with the custom Mercedes colours, and Ozduru joins us once again. Oi, hello there! A new livery for us to drool over. Looks good, my friend. Dark blue and white. That is a solid livery. It's got just the right amount of stickers and stuff on it as well, not to be overwhelming, and the livery itself is really simple. I dig that. Top notch. Well done. I like that. Well done, as the meme goes, or whatever. Anyways, Lemberg's then up at the top. Topinka dropping slightly. I was looking at the gap between himself and Rebecci slightly earlier, and yeah, it seems that Rebecci had a little bit of pace on him, so who knows. But at the moment then, our top 3 for the Pro class is Lemberg's, Morris and Jordan, shaking it up. Then in the Pro-Am class, it's Simmons, Novell and Redhead. Novell putting in some good performance. We actually didn't see him going round. Novell in the yellow and black Porsche, he's just come to a stop. And then for the AM class, it's going to be Rucroft Conti and then Pielinen. So Pielinen showing some good promise, and I'm not sure, I think he is one of the drivers that's literally just jumped in tonight with some spare spots available. You could almost think of it as a reserve driver, except that it's kind of not, because that will just go towards himself. So I don't quite have that system set up. I know some racing series have that. So for example, IFWL, they have a whole section dedicated to reserve drivers, just guys who are ready to go, just in case there's a spot that comes open, but not, you know, and it's really cool because they have to complete some sort of assessment as well, which I think is brilliant. But yeah, that's kind of over there. IFWL, go check them out. They were our partners for a short while. They helped us get the GT4 season running. They helped us out in the GT3 Season 3 series as well. And unfortunately, for the GT3 Season 4 series right at the start, they've unfortunately had to move on. It was great being with them though. It was really good, and we're all still, you know, we're all still chaps, we're all still friends. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And of course, as the rain continues to descend, it will just get more wet, more slippery. You do hit a limit though. You get to a point where it's just like, it doesn't seem as though it can get any more wet. And now, after all that chaos of practice, and I have to say it's been a bit of an interesting time, we do actually have an interviewee lined up. Oh goodness, everything just feels so kinetic tonight. Whoa. Give me just a moment as we make our way over to the commentary box. And Mikolta Pinker, the Pro Class Championship leader, joins me in the commentary box yet again. Hello and welcome, sir.
Yeah, hi mate.
It's nice to hear your voice again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure even for me. It was a big pause from my side, and I hope that I will be able to just hop back to the racing grid.
I mean, I think you will. I mean, at the moment you're still about 20 to 30 points ahead of Rebecci, despite Rebecci's recent performance. And you know, there's still another 4 races left to go, and you're just ahead of Rebecci. So I don't think you've missed out too much.
Yes, I hope so, because Rebecci is really good driver, and as we was able to see at the Imola, he was even be able to pass me. So it was a really nice race. Unfortunately, it was end up with some penalties for him, but it was a really nice race. So I think it will be almost the same right here, because you know the Rebecci is fast. But most important thing is that from my last race, right now I can see a lot of new names, and it will be okay normally, a lot of new names, but these names are really fast, like Limburgs. Yeah, there is another Lambo.
Yeah, he's had some really good performance, and I think he joined us at Alton Park for the first time, the first race that you weren't, you know, able to attend, and he immediately, you know, first race win, boom, that's it. He came into Zolder, also second race there, got another podium, took another race win, and as a Pro-Am driver, he took the overall win as well. So it's no wonder he's in the Pro Class now, but obviously because he's only been joining so late, he's got a massive points deficit to make up.
Yes, but for now I don't wanna race for points, but I want to just race for actual race. So I just wanna get the P1, not the P2 or P3. I just wanna hit the P1.
Yeah.
But it will be really hard, because you know I'm not so confident with the comfy with the Lambo. It was like a challenge, but for now I'm just begging that I wish I will be in a BMW or McLaren, something like that. Yeah, but I'm in a Lambo. It's a pain, especially at the rain. So it'll be really interesting this race.
Yeah. I mean, I was literally just about to ask that. Why did you choose the Lambo this season? What was the rationale behind the decision?
Yeah, so for the season 2, I just hit the, all wins except the last race because I was able to, uh, uh, don't use these points. And I was speaking with the Craig, like what to do to be more challenging for me. And I was thinking that I want to change the car, something which is not so safe like a BMW or McLaren, and I was thinking about the Lambo or Porsche, and I just let the Craig to decide which. It was his decision to which car I will be racing or driving. So yeah, it's all up on the Craig. Yeah.
Oh wow! So he was kind of the main decider. He was like, yeah, I think you'd. Did he? What was the rationale behind his decision? Do you know? Was it just he was trying to inconvenience you as much as possible, or?
It was the Craig really wanted to race with me, and he was racing every track. He was racing with me for, let's say, 6 minutes. Then I get the gap, and it was a really weird. So it was this decision to just get the Lambo. But I'm not sure if I can say it. It's a little bit rude, but he say, "Fuck it, get the Lambo," and that's it. I get the Lambo. So yeah, this is the reason why I ran.
Okay, yeah, because everyone has they've all decided to change their cars this season for some other reason. Everyone's gone for the BMW, all these other cars, and yeah, I was kind of wondering, Lamborghini. We've never seen that, I think, in the history of HSR Motorsport. So no, I think we actually saw season 1, but that of course wasn't streamed at all. But yeah, like you said, he was just like, yeah, let's go anyways.
Yes, I was. For now, I'm thinking about the Audi because it's a little bit similar, but it's really good in the corners. In good setup, it can have the good top speed. But for now, I'm just staying in the Lambo. And speaking about changing the cars, so let's say 1 month ago, I was coaching the Roman Hoshko, which is he was moved from the Pro AM to Pro.
Yeah.
And he was driving the Ferrari, and he was not confident, and he was struggling really hard. So I told him, okay, switch to the BMW. I can give you some proper sessions, and let's see how it will go.
Yeah.
So he spent a lot of times. We've spent a lot of times on the track with the coaching and getting the feedbacks and all this stuff. And it was really nice to see that he was forced from Pro AM to the Pro class, because he had the really good times, really good lap times, but he needs to spend a lot of more time on a track with the racing, like a proper racecraft. And when he will manage both things, like do proper lap times and make good racecraft, clean racecraft, it will be really nice to see him on a track and race with him.
Yeah. And do you then see him as potentially a rival to you in the future in the championship?
Sorry, do you mean Roman?
Yeah. Do you see him as a rival on track at some point in the future?
In the future, yes, definitely. I'm sure about it. And I was just thinking that as a HSR, we've created, or the Craig created, the esports sector.
Esports team,
Yeah, esports team, and there's a lot of fast drivers. And for me, because I was just watching how the other drivers are driving and their racecraft and behavior on the track, I think for me the Jordan is most, similar on same wave driver. So now he will be driving the Misano with another driver, but sometimes maybe it will be good to be with him in the same team.
Yeah.
For now, I'm just doing the solo, another solo.
Yeah, I mean, 4 hours solo is possible. I tried it actually with the last race we had. Sorry, the penultimate race we've had with the 4-hour endurances that we've been doing with Hira, and it wasn't too bad. So I'm sure you'll survive. You've got all the experience.
Yes, it was a good experience. It's 4 hours together with no pause, just 30 seconds in a pit stop. But yeah, it was a little bit unlucky for me because I was above the top 4 drivers at the beginning for, let's say, 50 minutes, I think. And
Yeah.
then because it was a really hard, because it was in the rain also, and there was a multi-class. So you need to control your car on the track. You need to just manage the same class, which is ahead of you or behind you, and also you need to manage to avoid the slower cars. So
Yeah.
it was really hard to focus.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's really what the drivers so much enjoy about it. That's why they keep going with it. Is just because, yeah, you need to focus so much because it's interclass racing, isn't it? GT3s and GT4s. So there's all that to keep in mind, keep the traffic behind. That's a particularly heavy theme.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's bad. It's really nice because it can also mix the positions, because the GT3 cars cannot hold their normal pace because they need to slow or avoid some cars and all that stuff. So it can mix the whole grid, all positions.
Oh yeah, the racing becomes a whole lot more unpredictable, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I've wanted to go GT3, but unfortunately I just couldn't make the race, and I'm not sure I can make this next one. Maybe the next one after Misano. But yeah, because I tried the GT4 at Indianapolis, and it was freaking scary, man, with these massive GT3s. The BMW just looked absolutely huge in the rear view mirror, and I was in the small petite McLaren 570. And I mean, I had a blast, except for some unfortunate circumstances. But other than that, it was just great going around and letting these guys pass. But after that, I was like, nope, I'm going to do GT3s now. So,
Yeah, it doesn't matter on which class you are. It's always good experience, and you can feel the pressure on a track for the whole lap, for the whole race.
yeah.
And let me just tell you one interesting thing. There's about 4 minutes until the free practice
Yeah,
as well. And
almost done.
yes, and we are currently on the wet. There is a weather, which I think my prediction is it will be wet on a qualification.
Yeah.
And then there comes the funny part, because if there will be, you can see that there is a prediction for 10 and 30 minutes, and we have a 20 minutes qualification, which is split it to the first 10 minutes and second 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If the first 10 minutes will be the track on a green or fast or whatever, and then after 10 minutes there will be rain.
Yeah.
It can make the pro class be mixed with the pro AM and AM. So even the fastest drivers can start from the back.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of that in the GT4 Championship, actually, just the amount of races we had in the wet that Foxy decided to throw in there. We saw that particularly, I think it was Spa. We had some pro drivers start at the back and, trying to work their way through the traffic. Makes for some good racing, though. It does make for some entertaining passes and stuff.
Yeah, I think you will have a lot of stuff to comment on this race, so
yeah, we'll have to
wish
see
you
how
the
it
best.
goes. Have to see how it goes. But yeah, last question then before we head off. What is the key to winning today at Hungary?
Stay on the track, of course.
Hey, yeah, top tip.
Stay on the track. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy parts on the track, like the chicane, which can just kill you in just 1 second, because you can, when it's in the rain, you need to avoid the curbs and all that stuff, and this chicane is around the curbs, so there is a curbs and you need to hit them properly, and if you will miss one curb or that bump, it can send you on the grass, and yeah, it can kill you pretty easily. And also there's a lot of fast corners which need to make preparation for the corner entry, and if you didn't make the proper corner entry, you need to just make you can go off the track, which can cost you some penalization, and after free penalization you need to go to the pits as a drive-through. So yeah, there is a lot of things which can make for the drivers much more hard to behave on it.
Yeah. And I guess as well, something that came up in my mind was also quali as well, because obviously on such a tight track, the only real easy overtaking opportunity is going to be into turn 1, and you know, in the red as well, with all the pros stuck in the back. That's going to be quite interesting.
Yes, yes, because I don't want to separate the drivers, but yeah, there is classes. I think a lot of drivers on pro class can behave and make more predictable driving than the pro AM or AM, because sometimes the AM doesn't even know that something is around them, so they are just choosing the normal racing line,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they are they cannot adapt or they cannot defend properly. So sometimes even when you wanna just make the easy overtake, it can be really hard because you need to think what is gonna happen in next 3 seconds during the overtake.
yeah, yeah. So we'll definitely probably have a load of contact to look at today, and with an hour race, that's also a lot of time to do it. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Yes, me too.
But yeah, that's the end. We've got literally 40 seconds left to practice, so we'll let you get back to it, and we'll see you on the other side.
Yes. Okay. So enjoy the racing. I think it will be really tough.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Good luck, sir.
Okay, bye.
The voice of Mikhail Topinka, our season 2 championship, our first season that we broadcasted. That's why I keep connecting them. And as you heard, the rain is definitely going to spice things up. It's the first race we've had with rain in such a long time. Last time, the chaos that ensued was immeasurable, and considering the chaos we had at Zolder on a dry track, yeah, there is a lot that could happen, a butt ton that could happen. But soon we'll be getting qualifying underway, and I'm sure that will also be quite interesting to watch as drivers try and push their cars as hard as they can. Sorry, I'm still trying to get the graphic stuff down, so I do apologise. That seemed a bit slightly inappropriate going in that quick. But yeah, last couple of drivers coming across the line. I do apologise also for the professionalism of the stream tonight is not on par. We've had some issues. If this is your first time joining us, yeah, we've had some issues, and it's had some issues when it feels really casual. But I try and keep that vibe through practice, anyways. I like being casual with my practice. If you've been with us before, you'll know all about that. A couple new guys joined somewhere along the way. Ben Pfeiffer joined in that Ferrari. Who else? Warburton has also joined us in that Mercedes. So a couple familiar names. But yeah, qualifying soon to ensue. Join us in just a couple moments, and I would say grab a drink, get some popcorn, but you have more time during the race. So I would say hold off, wait another 20 minutes or 10 minutes depending on which class you want to see go out, and yeah, then join us in just a couple moments after qualifying for the race. And qualifying is pretty much underway already. And here we go, qualifying about to get going. We've got 20 minutes, 10 minutes for the lower classes, the Pro-Ams and the AMs, and then the last 10 minutes for the Pros. And the way you can distinguish them, just a top tip, just to make your viewing experience a little easier for you, a little less stressful for me because I have to keep explaining it. The background to each car number is the class. So white, as with Topinka, is Pro class, grey as with Fox in P6, that's Pro-Am class, and red as with Penel, currently in P3, that is the Am class. So each background is associated with the class. So white, Pro, grey, Pro-Am, red, Am. And it takes a while for you to get it, but once you've got it, it helps so much. You can just, yeah, it just makes the classes a little easier to think about, obviously in terms of class position, etc. So at the moment, it's Pernell being the first one out the pits, probably first one to set a lap if he can keep it on track, hopefully. He doesn't have a bad reputation when it comes to car handling and keeping it on the track, but he does have Fox right behind him, a BMW, but that is Pernell letting him through. He knows he knows Fox has got a little more pace in him, the Pro-Am coming through, so Fox will be the first to come across the line. And with that lap, I think we'll go on board for a little track tour, just to talk you through it. And just a couple of weeks ago, actually, almost, well, a couple of weeks ago, that will class for almost as a month ago. Depends on how you like to say it. But I was here for an F1 Esports Championship, so I know the track somewhat. This is roughly where the DRS would start kicking in. But anyways, main straight, we have 2.7 miles to go down into turn 1. Heaviest braking zone on the track. Plenty of space for an overtake. Late apex, run it out wide as much as you can in the rain, and a little kink through to the right, but that is still technically turn 1. Under the bridge into turn 2, very interesting corner, blind apex, late apex, depending on how your car handles. You then need to bring it all the way over to the left for the right-hander of turn 3, a little kink, run it out onto the curb, be very careful in the rain, then into turn 4, very treacherous. It goes over to the right, then a fast kick over to the left. You go off camber for a little bit on the exit, so we've seen a couple guys spin out. Then turn 5 is a long right hand, again late apex, get the power down early, and you've got a good run into the chicane of turns 6 and 7, which we heard from Topinka is treacherous indeed. So usually you would catch a moderate amount of curb, not too much because there are sausage curbs. Narrow curb on the right, heading into turn 8. Little S section now, turn 9, the right-hander, and he can run it out as far as he can, but keep bringing that car over to the side of the track as fast as you can. Turn 10, then into turn 11, a little straight before we hit the final section of corners. And yeah, it is really, you need to be constantly working that wheel, bringing the car all the way over to the left, all the way over to the right. And now into turn 12 is a fairly high-speed right-hander, and then into a very cool section, turns 13, very long left-hander, again blind apex, get the power down, bring the car all the way over to the left, turn 14, the final corner, keep the speed up, do the long right-hand again, late apex, get the power down really early as you can, and onto the straight. Now, Foxy will of course come across the line to set the first time, a 156.3, and Pernell a 157.0. Now the times will flood in, and unfortunately it does mean that we will not have a solid prediction when it comes to the driver position. So at the moment, I was just about to say Pfeiffer currently on provisional pole for the Pro-Ams, but Manship suddenly takes it. So you see just how quickly it can change. But once you get a solid amount of drivers coming in, then you should be all good. Manship was one driver we did not cover. He slipped in somewhere. Manship currently our Pro-Am class leader, and he is doing a fine job of it indeed, as we heard, about 20 points ahead of Fox. And he's running his usual light blue and orange livery in the Golf colours, and he is currently on provisional pole overall and for the Pro-Am class, but of course that will change once the pros hit the track. We're about halfway through already, halfway through qualifying. Manship car 999, currently with a 154.2. He is improving though as he comes into the second sector through the S's, turn 8 and then turn 9 coming up, and here we go. S is starting now. He's half a second up on his previous time by the time he hits sector 2 and sector 3. Now into the S's on the way out, turn 10. Let's see, he keeps running that time down. Let's see how he does into the final section now. You can see Simmons and the Mercedes in the background, the green car. There we go, turn 12, a little bit onto the curb. You can see how slidey it is, and Simmons in the background getting slightly shaky as well. The Golf car now making its way through turn 13, now turn 14. He has got pole at the moment, but he wants to cement that position. Is his improvement enough to keep him ahead of the rest of the pack's improvements? That is the question. Out onto the main straight, across the line. Where does Manship come out? A 153.6. Redhead just crossed the line ahead as well, 154.6. Pfeiffer just on his way out. Novell about to cross the line again, and Novell up to P3. So he's made an improvement at 155.1, but still 1.5 seconds off Manship. And unfortunately, the rain does tend to split the classes up. It does tend to space the drivers out quite a bit. And now we do have Redhead currently P2 still. Ozduru suddenly putting in a Pro-Am class worthy lap time in the Aston Martin, that livery we saw earlier. And yeah, I can confirm I do like the livery indeed. Ozduru currently in P1 for the AM class, with Craddock taking P2 and Curtis P3. So again, those new names suddenly just popping up. New names all in there. Rucroft, where is he? Rucroft is, of course, the championship leader. He's been putting in some pretty consistent results. But of course, rain just completely changes things. You get some drivers that just struggle on the dries, and then the moment the rain comes out, for some other reason, they're just rain masters and they just end up absolutely dominating the field. So who knows? Let's follow Rucroft. He's now going into the final section of corners. The last two corners lie ahead of him. The last left-hander and the last right-hander of the circuit. He's only got 2 minutes left to try and improve on his position. He's currently P15 overall, and that means he's P10 for his class. And round the final corner, slightly wide, but it is still an improvement. Let's see how much across the line. Here comes Rucroft, and Rucroft up to P4 in his class, P9 overall, so just shy, about a tenth shy, just under a tenth shy of Curtis for P3. And Craddock now takes pole position for the AM class. Craddock currently P2 overall. The McLaren's leading the charge at the front of the pack. Simmons trying to make an improvement. Curtis was on an improvement, but unfortunately fell back. Warburton on a massive improvement across the line, up to P12. Still struggling a bit in the rain though. Manship doing quite well on his time, and there is only a minute and 20 seconds left remaining in the session. Simmons is on a run though as he goes through the first couple corners, through turn 1 and 2. He's gaining quite a bit of speed there. The Mercedes driver now suddenly taking P2 for the Pro-Am class. Redhead dropping down to P3. Novell not far off. I'm sure Novell will be putting in some more effort, a little more effort into getting those podium positions. We've seen some good performance from him in the past though, so I don't doubt it. In the rain though, I can imagine the Porsche must be a little tail happy, a little slidey. Now this of course is quite interesting and quite good for Novell, because he doesn't have a podium yet. However, he is quite high up in the championship, so it'd be good for him to get that good gaggle of points. In fact, Novell is currently P8 in the championship, which, you know, considering there's 15, yeah, that's mid-grid, but you know, he's above guys that have scored podiums, so I'm sure he's still quite happy with that. In terms of action on the track, not really too many improvements. Warburton looking fast once again somewhere, but we follow Simmons now across the final couple sections, through the final couple corners. How does he fare? Does he improve? Coming across the line, round the final corner, and I think officially it is time now for the pros to start coming out onto track. So the faster drivers will be coming out now, showing us how it's done. And Simmons up to P2. So yeah, great improvement from that driver. Warburton only takes P5, so good improvement from him on that final attempt, that final lap. Ozduru still out on track somewhere. Fox also out on track, 0.3 seconds. And he's just going through turn 5 at the moment, that long right-hander into the chicane of turns 6 and 7. He's one of the only Pro-Am drivers still out on track. He's doing his final lap now, about to come in, about to cross the line to finish his final lap. And he is trying to improve. Ozduru is trying to do the same as well. Ozduru currently just starting his lap, so I think he should be coming back in. We have had I think the stewards have had a chat with him about this kind of thing before. But let's follow Foxy again, just through the final couple corners. That was turn 11. Now into turn 12. Let's see, how does he fare? Does he manage to make up a good couple milliseconds? I can't quite say seconds. I mean, you know, it should be about 2.4 seconds, 2.2 seconds if he wants to improve. And that's Foxy sliding on the final corner. Disappointing result. That's not the outcome he was waiting for, not the outcome he was hoping for, I'm sure. And Purinen also still on an out lap, still lapping. So someone will have to let him know about the split qualifying. I'm sure they will. But anyways, let's follow Topinka, our interviewee from earlier, the Lamborghini, currently out on circuit. And he is probably going to be pushing, as per usual, for the pole position. He's not really failed, he's never failed at getting a pole position so far in HSR Motorsport broadcast history. However, he was not the first one to cross the line at Imola. That's the hope we all hold on to, because he's just that kind of guy. He's, you know, no hate towards him at all. He's such an amazing guy, as you can hear from just now. But he was just that dominant in season 2. It's like everyone's just like, whoever can beat Topinka is the real deal, you know. And so far, Rebecci has shown some promise. The season 1 champ, showing why he was the season 1 champion. Rebecci, I'm sure, will be pushing hard as well. Another driver to keep an eye out for is, of course, Jordan, who was challenging Rebecci for the race lead over at Alton Park, and the same at Imola, in fact. Funny, I say that because it was because of Rebecci overtaking Jordan that he got the penalty. So, yeah, that's how he lost the race. That's how Rebecci lost the race, essentially. He had to cross the line first, and at the time, yeah, he won, but the penalty, unfortunately, just put him behind Rebecci and a couple other guys. Put him behind Topinka and a couple other guys. So all in all, he did not win that race. But he did get a couple podiums over the course of the next couple races, and he does have a race win under his belt. So I'm sure he'll still be holding on to that. And currently P2 in the championship, that's not shabby considering you've got the other championship winners in the same lobby. So round the final corner now, here comes Topinka. What is going to be the pro time to beat? We shall have to wait and see, because it was an invalid lap. And Marcy comes across the line first. Comes across the line in P1, drops down to P2 as Morris comes past. And fortunately, Topinka, well, I don't know. Is it fortunately? Is it unfortunately? Topinka's claims of it getting dry during qualifying and letting the pros get faster lap times as a result, making them, you know, come in behind the other pro-ams and ams. You know, it would have been great to see them racing, but it doesn't happen. And in a sense, you know, it's fortunate because it means the pro-ams and the ams don't get in the way of the pros, who are obviously faster, they've got more pace, they'll probably be a little more frustrated when they get stuck behind someone, although their experience should taper that, so I don't really see what their issue should be. But then, yeah, it just means the racing's a little bit cleaner, obviously, as the pro-ams and the pros don't really have to tangle too much. But they will eventually, with the blue flags, obviously, and that could be treacherous as well. Oh, Massey, as he was trying to get some good mid-corner speed, that late braking, that unfortunately, he just bailed on the corner slightly. So our top 3 pros now, Morris, Massey and Rebecci. That's a nice little bit of alliteration there, Morris, Massey. Morris, Massey, Nicolo Rebecci. Almost sounds like a rap. So yeah, Rebecci currently P3. He's going to be improving on his time, hopefully. That McLaren driver, of course, does have a reputation, unfortunately, for not making the cleanest overtakes. We've seen some clean ones, but when they are clean, then it's quite a big occasion, and you're like, wow, he's finally done it. Oh my goodness, and that's him into the barriers at turn 12. Always right at the end with these corners that just take so long to get around. Yeah, that was just unfortunate for the McLaren driver. Jordan now coming through exactly the same section. Does he get killed? Does he die? No, he doesn't. He keeps the car in good shape through turn 13. He's got another corner to go, though. He has improved on his time. Last time I checked. Now through the final corner, across the line, we've heard some good things about Jordan. We've seen some good things about Jordan. Across the line, where does Jordan come out? He stays P8, which is P7 overall. And we can see Deeringer and Limburg's. Oh, Deeringer back, except that Deeringer is in a Honda. Sir, last time I saw you, you were in a Lamborghini. And the time before, he was in a Ratiga. It's kind of like a cheap Lamborghini brand, I guess. So Deeringer back to fight for more podium positions. We've seen some good racing from him as well in the past. Limburg's down in P5. I'd have expected slightly faster pace from him, but of course the rain does some strange things to drivers. So who knows? We'll have to see. Lavagnos down in P13. I think he is one of 2 pro drivers stuck behind AM drivers in the leaderboard, so you'll hopefully be able to make some progress through. Here's Deeringer. Meanwhile, we didn't comment about his livery. I do quite like it. The colours fit quite well, orange and blue. It's very, very similar to Malot's though, so I'm probably going to get very confused. But across the line now, Deeringer, and yeah, no real change. Still P7. Just not enough. He's only 200ths of Manchip actually, and then it's a larger gap to Limburg's, unfortunately. But Topinka's back out on track, and Jordan suddenly up to P2. He's just come across the line. So Jordan pushing his times, pushing for position. Morris demoted down to P3, and Marcy out of the podium positions. Rebecci, of course, also not a name to forget. Lavagnos also, he did make it past Craddock, fortunately. So the McLaren driver is improving on his times, currently going through turns 6 and 7. And I'm sure he'll be pushing for some more time. They've only got a minute remaining though, so probably, I mean, if he keeps his tyres nice and tidy, and he keeps the car just that little bit more under the limit, then next lap he can make another attempt, just in case there's something he wasn't quite happy with. Or if he's quite happy with how it's been so far, then just go for it. You know, last 3 corners, just absolutely send it, see what happens. Through turn 12, a little bit on the curb, you can see it sliding almost. There's Morris in the background. The McLaren now coming through turn 13. Then it's one more right-hander remaining. Where will he come out? The Vanyos, of course, has finished on the podium a couple times this season. Let's see, how does he fare in qualifying? Probably his penultimate attempt. Cross the line, oh my goodness, and that attempt aborted. I was getting so excited, I was building up the tension, you know, all that good stuff. Jordan, though, he's improving. Last time we checked, as he went into Sector 2, he was 2/10ths up. Now through the final couple corners, it's likely going to be his final lap. Oh my goodness, I think he was actually on a faster lap then. I think Jordan could potentially have taken P1. He could have taken pole if he'd crossed that line. So, yeah. Jordan then out, Morris, and now qualifying officially ends. The drivers have one last shot, essentially, last couple minutes to make some attempts at a lap time. Peter's now making his way through the S's through turn 9, then turn 10, now through turn 11, that right-hander. He, of course, is down in P15. He is last for the pros, unfortunately. But it's nice to see the classes somewhat fall into shape. We've got that big gaggle of Pro-Ams down in P18, down to P21, and then the Ams start from about Penel P22, with, of course, Craddock and Osduru being the outliers in the data, as we learned in Maths A-levels. So, here we go, final couple drivers across the line. We've got Peters being the first of them. across the line. How does he fare? Does he keep his time validated? Yes, he does, but he does not improve. Then we've got Jackson coming across the line at some point as well. But before we do, we have one other driver. Marcy comes across, unfortunately not able to improve on his P4 time, so he won't be able to make it into the top three, the podium positions. Jackson now through the final couple corners, turn 13. That purple Ferrari pushing for time, pushing wide, out on turn 13, now turn 14. Carries some good speed through there, not quite hitting the apex. Until now, that late apex, get the power down nice and early onto the straight. Where does Jackson come out? Does he improve? No, he does not. And then the final driver to come across will be Limburgs in the Lamborghini. We've seen some good stuff from him across the line. Now, does he take pole? Does he improve on his position? No, he doesn't. And that is the positions locked for qualifying. Oh, my goodness. We do not advocate for that kind of behaviour in HSR Motorsport. But, hey-ho, not quite sure how to respond to that. But that then is the end of qualifying. So join us now in just a couple moments for the race. Now I will leave you to go get your drinks, get your snacks, settle down for 1 hour of racing with a mandatory pit stop thrown in there for fun. And let's do this again. See you all in a second. And here we go. The race is about to begin. 1 minute until it starts, and I thought we could do another little grid walk. We are in control of the drone yet again, so let's go through the grid. We've got Topinka at top one. Well, sorry, I started that wrong. Top three for the Pro class, right at the front. Topinka in the Lambo, Jordan in the BMW, Morris in the Ferrari. Then we've got Marcy, Limburgs, Rebecci, Manchip taking P1 for the Pro-Am class, followed by Diringer, Jackson, Dutton, Schubert, Lavagnos, and then Craddock, the lone AM driver up here in almost the top 10, P13, but P1 for his class. Simmons, P2 for the Pro-Ams, Kurt Peters, the final Pro. Then we've got Redhead, a good qualifying position for him, P3 in the class. Then we've got Ozduru, P2 for the AMs. Then we've got Warburton, Novell, Pfeiffer, Fox. That drone is getting a bit low for my taste. Pennell taking P3 for the AMs, the final podium position gone. And then we've got the rest of the AMs and the Pro-Ams behind. We've got Pirinen, we've got Curtis, Rucroft, Conti, Hubin, Elford. Sorry, I don't have the leaderboard up on stage. And we've got Malott in the car over there. And I'm still confused whether that's Janssen or Van Lagen. That is going to be Janssen, I believe. Then we've got Brum at the back. Christoph and Taylor starting right there. So yeah, quite an interesting qualifying grid. We've got some new names, we've got some old names. Of course, Topinka starting right at the front. I hope it's not going to be a very boring race. We'll see. Just don't hit the drain, please. I'll try my best so they don't down it. Yeah, Penel's almost just hit it. Bring it back though. I'm not a drone. I'm not a professional drone flyer. And a couple last drivers come across just as we reach the start line. And we'll just put the drone on the ground and the marshals will come and pick that up in just a second. So yeah, of course now, a race about to get underway. We've got Topinka leading the way as per usual, Jordan P2, which is good for him. He's had some great qualifying performances in the past, great race finishes in the past. Hopefully he can use that experience, hopefully he can use that as leverage in both the championship and in this race battle against Topinka, because you know, in the end Jordan also wants to win, so you know, who knows. We've got Morris suddenly, finally up in a proper position. He's usually down at the bottom of the grid and he's just got the pace to filter through the Pro-Ams and the AMs, but usually he just gets to the Pros and then that's the race over. So it's great to see him up there. Hopefully he can actually show his pace up at the top, take either at least another podium or hopefully start challenging Topinka. Could this be another worthy challenger? Marcy just behind, we've seen some good stuff from him. Limburgs in the Lamborghini, he seemed quite fast during practice, but of course qualifying, that's a different story. Rebecci just behind him as well, so some stiff competition up in the top six. And Manchip, of course, as usual, mixing it up with the pros, literally right in the middle of it all. P7 for Manchip, but P1 for his class. Pro-Am race leader so far and the Pro-Am championship leader. Simmons P2 all the way down to P13, and then Redhead again, late joinee, late racer, and P3. I'm sure he's not too upset with that, not too shabby, I might say so myself. And of course Craddock in the AM class, quite far ahead of Ozduru in P2, and then P3 Pirinen is the AM driver, but I think he'll probably have a visit with the stewards at some point. And now the drivers line up on their double slot grids. I still don't know what you call it. Two single files, I'll just call it the double single file. Oh, but that's really confusing, isn't it? Anyways, drivers joining up now to start round 5 of the Season 4 Championship here at the Hungaroring. And let's get comfy, let's get racing, let's go racing. And it's go time. 33 cars roaring down to turn 1 to start an hour of racing, and Topinka's had a somewhat alright start. Jordan not too far behind. Marcy defending from Rebecci. Jordan going around the outside. Morris defending from Limburgs. Oh my goodness, and there's Limburgs going straight on Morris to the outside. A couple cars on the outside. Let's swap to the helicam, and there is chaos happening further down the grid. Oh my goodness, there are 3 cars facing the wrong way. Malott just got taken out. Oh my goodness, Warburton at the back there, Huben, I see Craddock, I see Janssen, I see another car, there's Rucroft off into the grass. Can he stay out of the way? Yes he can, good job. Craddock going around the outside of 2 AM drivers. There's Novell going slow, 2 orange cars going round the inside, that's Riley and Brum just squeezing past. Oh my goodness, so some crazy action towards the back of the pack. Anyone else? No, not really. Let's see how the rest of the race goes. So Topinka ahead then, still ahead. Morris has dropped a couple positions, obviously going slightly wide, and he's putting Rebecci under pressure already. Peters and Simmons just swapped positions. Dutton currently right up on the back of the car ahead. Dutton in the Porsche being banged by the side from Simmons, and now he loses the position to Peters as well as they go through the S section. And there seems to be a stationary car somewhere on circuits that is just coming out of turn 7 onto turn 8. Dutton now looking for a position on Kurt Peters. The Porsche into braking. No, he's still behind. And Duringer and Lavagnos just swapped positions as well a little further up for P7 overall. And the grid already starting to space out slightly, but still really close. I'm impressed at how clean it has stayed roughly. Deringer in the Honda, putting Lavagnos under pressure on the exit. How does he fare? He's got maybe a slightly better exit. He's got the slipstream. Lavagnos feeling the need to go defensive into turn 1. Really, really defensive. Right back out into the middle of the track, trying to get a little bit of space. Deringer going round the outside potentially into turn 1. Is this the Honda making the move? No. Unfortunately, he has to go the longer way round, but he's still there. He's still looking for it. He's still got that inside line potentially into turn 2. He's not quite close enough to claim that position. Oh my goodness, some good space between these drivers. Good racing. Great to see them actually be aware of each other and give each other the space they need to race competitively. And now we've got a 4-way train here for P7. Lavagnos, then Deringer, then Jackson, then Limburgs. And all different car brands, I have to say. McLaren ahead, then Honda, then Ferrari, then Lamborghini. It's good to see this little mix of car brand. Limburg's right up behind Jackson and move into the chicane. That would have been slightly risky. I think that would have been a little crazy, I'm not going to lie. But, you know, if your opponent's out of position like Jackson is into turn 6, and well, that, you know, you're gonna make use of that. So Limburg's right up behind him, and Deringer's struck back slightly. Oh, and Jackson having to go slightly defensive. Deringer knows he's putting him under pressure. He knows Jackson is feeling that pressure. Going slightly wide. There's Simmons in the background. The Mercedes sliding slightly into turn 12. Ooh, Deringer pushing his luck, trying to see where he can push. And into turn 13. And Peter's just dropped a position on Simmons. Something happened there. Morris about... Oh, no, Rebecci. Where's Rebecci gone? Has he gone into the pits? Rebecci's just pitted. So suddenly, he's gone. That promotes everyone up a position. So I suspect he's had something happen. And we still see this battle between Lavagnos and Deringer. Lavagnos feeling the need to go defensive. But we do have some great racing going down a little further down the pack. 0.2 seconds. We see loads of drivers now into the pits, and there's just so much happening. Conti dropping down the order. We've got Lavagnos that spun out as well. Oh my goodness. Things just happen so quickly. So now we're going to have to get out the race replays at some point as well. And they are all active, so it does mean that we are good to go when we need them. Not as glitchy or laggy as they were last time. At the moment, Limburg's still up behind Jackson. So we were following Deringer and Lavagnos at some point, but now we still follow Deringer. Here we go. Limburg's down the inside into turn 10. That's a very unconventional overtaking spot. Jackson giving him the space. He's still got that inside line. He's still got his nose tucked in, but not quite on the exit. Jackson, the better run. Under braking though, Limburg dives down the inside into turn 12, and he's got that move done. Beautiful bit of overtaking from Limburg's. Just dropped a position, and we do have some tight racing further down the grid. Oh my goodness, look at this. 6 cars all battling for the same position. I see Novell, I see Schubert, I see Brum, I see Novo. Oh my goodness, and there's a car going around, one of the orange BMWs. That's Brum, and 3 cars on the exit of turn 13 go round, and that was Brum heading into Novell and Craddock, unfortunately taking them out. And now that's mixed up the lower class as well. The rain has really hit full force today. It has properly inconvenienced the racers today. There's Alfred pitting as well. Plenty of drivers, I suspect, with damage. Taylor making an overtake on Malott as well into turn 1. 2 different classes. Oh, watch out for Fox. Ooh, almost I had flashbacks of Alton Park. Oh my goodness, and Taylor not quite getting the car stopped in time. Malott having to take a little bit of an evasive action, an evasive maneuver, but he keeps it out of the yellow McLaren and he's passed. Now further up the grid, Morris made up a position on Manship at some point. 0.3 seconds off of Marcy now. Could we see position change here? I'm sure we will. Morris putting Marcy under pressure, good pressure, 0.2 seconds between them now. Is there potential for an overtake into turn 1? We've seen some moves into turn 12. Limburg's some good speed on Jackson. And there's Jordan not far ahead. So Jordan's just outside or just within a second. Deeringer only 0.2 seconds off of Manship. So Deeringer also pushing in the Honda. .6 seconds, so on the exit, not much there. And that's quite interesting. It was interesting seeing both Jordan and Morris go down to the inside of the corner. Meanwhile, Deeringer is not far behind Manship, a pro trying to make a position on a Pro-Am driver. Penel just dropped to Lavagnos. Lavagnos and Penel fighting hard over this position down in P14. Penel saying, I'm just going to keep my pace, you need to go around me. And there's the move. Penel deciding, oh, I'll just go back to the outside. Lavagno saying, thanks, I'll take the inside line, make that position. I've been waiting for this a while. And he takes the next position. Peter's having a battle with Piedinin. And we see just the tail end of that on the exit of turn 1. Again, similar thing, probably really long under braking. There's plenty of interclass action happening. Hubin just dropping a position to Taylor as well down in P22. And oh my goodness, someone's gone round Curtis somewhere on track. There we go, facing somewhat the right direction, and he's decided to make a mashup of his front end new mix. And I have to say, it doesn't look too bad, but yeah, unfortunately for his race chances, that is looking bad. So unfortunate result for him, unfortunate occurrence for him. Here's Malott going down the inside of Hubin, potentially. Hubin going slightly wide. Malott, he was having a look at it. He was thinking about it. Now into the S section after the chicane. You've got Taylor also just ahead. Again, a little gaggle of AM drivers coming up on the Pro-Am driver. And Peter's just got past Novell as well, so the pro driver trying to make up position, trying to make up some lost ground. Doing it out in 0.1 seconds. There's Warburton going wide. Deeringer and Manship are also really close. In fact, here's Deeringer having to go around the outside of Manship into turn 1, and Manship obviously not quite voluntarily giving that up, but Deeringer doesn't mind. He's just going to do it anyways. Deeringer up to P5, and it's not long before Limburgs decides to do the same thing, but down the inside, and Manship says, cheers for the overshoot, let's just keep this pace going, let's just keep the momentum, because of course Manship drop in behind these drivers, he will have less security between himself and Simmons, who is P2 in the Pro-Am class. So he's obviously trying to keep that security between himself and the Mercedes driver. Well, this means though that Jackson can catch up slightly to the back of Limburgs, have another battle with him, or he'll just keep the momentum going to try and catch up to the drivers ahead. But his Limburgs are looking to turn 6, maybe making Manship think for a little bit, making him think maybe there's a move down into turn 8 though. Good space being given, good awareness from Manship, not quite conventional place, but Limburgs doesn't mind going in these uncomfortable spots through turn 9, now turn 10, and then turn 11. Through the right hand, if he's got good speed, he can make the position down into turn 12. We've seen him do that before with Jackson. It's a little bit far for that, so maybe a move on the straight. I think so. That's that. It's this next bit is screaming a move on the straight. Yeah, Manship's already going slightly defensive. You can see just into turn 13, and there's Redhead just ahead. Unfortunately, being lapped. Fortunately, a blue flag driver. He was P3 in the Pro-Ams during qualifying, but unfortunately seems like his race start has not been so good. But anyways, here we go. Limburg trying to make a position on Manship. We've seen these two come together before, we've seen these two fight, and Manship doesn't decide to do anything about it. He just lets Limburg come down the inside. Standard overtake, nicely done. And Jackson now just half a second, so Limburg's is just getting past Manchip. Manchip being filtered out of the top 10 probably by the drivers, or trying to be filtered out. Peters, meanwhile, still trying to make some progress up the field. Peters in the BMW about to make a move on Pfeiffer down into turn 1. A little bit of late braking. Yes, very late braking, but he gets it turned in, and easy overtake for him. I suspect Pfeiffer likely lifted off just a little bit, just to let him pass, just to make it slightly easier. Oh my goodness, there's another car, and that is Pirinen into the wall at turn 1. And he's also decided to add a new cooling slot to the front of his car. And you've got Curtis about to make a move on Taylor as well. 2 damaged cars, both going wide at turn 2. That's quite funny to watch. It was like a synchronized dance. We've seen synchronized dances before. It was like a fairy. And then just ahead, is going to be Huben, also trying to make a position on Taylor at some point. The GTR on the yellow McLaren, but I don't know how it will go. I'm not sure. Jackson up in P8, looking at a manoeuvre on Manchip at some point. Pro driver on a Pro-Am, and if Jackson gets past, that means that Manchip is then only 2 seconds ahead of Simmons, who's P2 in the Pro-Am class. So there could be potential for a little battle there. You can see just how defensive Manchip's already going, or looking like he's going. And yeah, the Ferrari just didn't have the exit speed. And of course he didn't opt to go with the slipstream. But that is Manchip wide at turn 1. Jackson says, hey, I don't need the slipstream. Hey, I don't need to make a move into turn 1. Hey, thank you for getting out of the way, sir. Manchip now down to P8, and that of course puts him within 2 seconds of Simmons. So we could have a battle for the Pro-Am class race lead at some point, depending on Morris's pace. Meanwhile, here is Morris in the red Ferrari. And looks like Manchip has been given a penalty of some sorts. But we continue the racing. Morris only 0.3 seconds off of Marcy, not too far behind. Also got a little bit of action further down between the classes, but this is the most applicable. We do have Manchip and Simmons. Simmons now within a second of Manchip, so there could be that change for position coming up soon, but Morris is closer. Morris is only 0.3 seconds behind Marcy. We've seen Morris do some great stuff before. Is this going to be his chance to get back up into the podium positions? He started P3. He dropped a couple positions right at the start, but now he's going to be trying to make a position back up. And this, if he manages to finish this race ahead of Morris, that will be his first podium of the season. Meanwhile, Lavagnos just got past Conti down on P12 and P13. Simmons now within half a second of Manchip, just ahead. Manchip seeming to struggle at the Hungaroring in the wet, unfortunately. 4 seconds. Just coming down the straight now. Just keeping an eye on that timing board. 0.3 seconds between Morris and Marcy still. But that of course fluctuates slightly. It goes up to 0.4, 0.5. Simmons now on his 0.2 seconds. Maybe a look into turn 2. No. So the Mercedes driver chasing the race win. Simmons is just pushing that Mercedes as hard as he can. And Manchip, of course, doesn't want to lose that position. Simmons chasing his 3rd podium, but his 1st race win of the season, and Manchip trying to hold on to almost a perfect record, a 4th race win for him if he can manage to stay ahead of Simmons. But anyways, a 5th podium for him, roughly. Morris now 0.1 seconds. I do apologise if we fluctuate a little bit between them. Morris really close to the back of Marcy, 0.1 seconds between them just a couple seconds ago. Simmons, the Mercedes driver, putting some pressure on him, and Limburgs is right up behind Dieringer as well, the Lamborghini on the Honda up in P5. Oh my goodness, the gaps are so close. Here's Simmons, 0.2 seconds going through the S's now into turn 11. Dutton just lost out to Schubert now on P10 and 11. There's a little bit of a gap. Could we hazard a look at the overtake? I'm not sure. When in doubt, leave it out, as my mother used to say. As my mother still says, unfortunately. She just keeps drilling that into me. 0.3 seconds between Morris and Marcy still. So we could have gone for a little look, but maybe not, because Manship has had a slightly slow exit out of there. And Schubert dropping down the order now. Has something gone wrong for Schubert? Yes, there he is, recovering out of turn 13. There are scrape marks on the front of his car, but not a gap. So fortunately, it doesn't seem as though he's hit the wall too hard, but something did happen. It did go off. Manship again on the wider line, out of turn 1. Going defensive into turn 2. Simmons says, no, I want that inside line. They're right up against each other. Oh my goodness, that was close. Manship almost replicating his Zolder performance, where at turn 1 he would just squeeze the drivers, or the drivers themselves would drive into the vortex of danger, and then obviously take out Manship in the process. There's Christoph moving slowly on the apex, on the exit line. Both just squeezing past. On the exit, Simmons just seems faster. Manship seems to be struggling out here in the wet. He's been great all season. It's been great for him. It's been dry all season. Is this his fallen... what is this his fallen chance? It's not quite saying, is it? But is this his chance? Is this Simmons' chance to finally get a podium finish, let alone a race win? Whoa, and into turn 12. And Manship's gone wide, and through goes Simmons. A little bit slightly under braking, and that just gave Simmons the chance, and he said, thanks very much, I'll just take that position. In fact, that was into turn 11, it wasn't even turn 12, so that was through the S's. Further down the grid though, 0.4 seconds between Lavagnos and Dutton. Schubert dropped a position to Dutton in that Porsche car ahead. Only 0.4 seconds between them. Could we see a move on the straight again? We're 20 minutes into the race, a third of the way through already. And I think we might start seeing some pit stop chaos happen, maybe the beginning. Or when Dutton's gone wide into turn 14, that means his exit might be slightly flawed or slightly better. Let's see. 0.1 seconds between them. Lavagnos having to go down the inside. No. And he's lost ground on the exit, having to take that slightly evasive line. And Conti now ducks into the pits for his pit stop. 0.2 seconds between Pfeiffer and Novell down in P17. We'll keep an eye on that. The moment it drops down to 0.1 seconds, we'll switch to them, but it seems as though that gap has gone up slightly. Pfeiffer not too far off Rucroft as well. So just keep an eye on that gap too. So Lavagnos putting some pressure on Dutton ahead for P10, which will be P8 in the class. 0.4 seconds, 0.3 seconds. It's close between these two. It's close. There doesn't seem to be such a deficit in pace as we've seen with the other drivers, though. They seem very, very closely matched. Whoa! And Lavagnos opting to go over the curbs. Slightly risky in the rain. Dutton going slightly wide, and here we go. Lavagnos putting pressure on Dutton. Dutton can feel it through the S's. Schubert also caught up to the back of Lavagnos. Obviously, as the driver ahead, as the Porsche is defending, he's slowing Lavagnos, and that, of course, all of them just go slow, and that brings Schubert back into the game. So we'll see how this goes. Three-way battle, and Pfeiffer just got past Rucroft down in P15. That's a Pro-Am driver getting past an Am driver, but that of course means he's got the security from Novell just behind. Pfeiffer actually P3 in the Pro-Am class. So there is, it's a podium position to fight for. Schubert and 0.3 seconds off Lavagnos going down the inside, making Lavagnos think. No, back to the outside. I wonder whether it's something to do with the grip. There might not be a little more grip down the inside of the circuit. Dutton feeling the pressure slightly. Morris just on the edge of a second off of Marcy again. Looks like he lost that gap and now he's closed that gap back up. Funny gap back up. Schubert now though. Lavagnos under pressure into turn 6. Making him think. Limburg's now right up behind Dieringer as well, 0.3 seconds between them. We'll have a look at that in a second, depending on what happens through the S. Dutton again going quite wide into turn 7. And looks like Peters just got past Pinnell, so now Peters can start fighting for the pro positions. Pro 8 seconds off of Schubert though. Schubert in that Ferrari ahead. Peters is a while back, he's 8 seconds off, but considering the progress he's made so far, you know, it could be all right. We'll have to see how it goes. And Dutton once again under pressure from Lavagnos. That will obviously keep fluctuating as they go through the corners. They might like certain corners more, or they might be faster through certain corners than others. Nürnberg's is right up behind Dieringer, 0.3 seconds, 0.2 seconds between them. It is close. We're keeping an eye on both sides of it. Lavagnos now 0.2 seconds, catching the slipstream down the main straight. There it is, a little look down the inside, a little far back for a move though. Ducks back in. And Schubert is not too far behind, also looking. Nürnberg's now within 0.1 second. Oh, the Lamborghini looking for a position through turn 5. Half a second between Lavagnos and Schubert and Dutton now, so it's a bit closer between Limburgs and Dieringer. We've seen the kind of moves that Limburgs is trying to propose, and he did pull off one into turn 12, putting Jackson under extreme pressure through the S's. Ooh, making Dieringer also think on the exit of turn 9. 0.3 seconds between Lavagnos and Dutton. Further down, 0.3 seconds between these two. Limburg, we've seen some good progress from him. Now my question is, into turn 14 and out of turn 14, who gets the better exit? And into turn 1, how will this go? Will it be Limburg's down the inside again? We've seen some great overtaking from this driver, clean overtaking as well. Right through turn 14, and that is Dieringer with a slightly wider exit. Here we go, almost side by side now onto the main straight. Dieringer and Limburg side by side. Dieringer just ahead. Limburg's opting to go back into the slipstream down into turn 1 though. Limburg's now down the inside, and that is Limburg's making a position up into P5. It's not done yet though. Now it is. Limburg's up to P5. That move has been coming for a while and he got it done. And we're just in time to see a gap further down the grid. Dutton and Lavagnos still 0.3 seconds. I thought Dieringer was going to make a move down into turn 2, but he thought better of it. He just wasn't close enough. Now back down to Dutton and Lavagnos is starting to dive down into turn 1. Goes wide. Schubert potentially a move down into turn 2, and Lavagnos is essentially shaking his head. And Schubert now around the outside into turn 2. Lavagnos is trying to defend. Is this going to be Schubert around the outside of turn 2? He keeps his car there, still within half a car's length. Down into turn 3, and that is Schubert just down the inside of Lavagnos, and that is Lavagnos losing traction into turn 4. Now that is a move I have never seen before. That is Schubert up into P11. Brilliant move. Kept it around the outside of turn 2 so that he could get the inside line into turn 3, and he's passed through that right-hander kink. Wow, great overtaking from the driver in that green Ferrari. And after that bit of excitement, Morris is only half a second off of Marcy for P3 in the Pro Class Championship. Looks like not the championship, sorry. How can you be 3 seconds off someone in the Pro Class? 3 seconds off him in the Pro Class. Craddock also only 0.2 seconds off from Novell. Again, just that class racing thing, that interclass kind of, you want the traffic to get behind you, so you've got that extra space. Lavagnos now looking into turn 13. Schubert, they had a little bit of trouble getting through the traffic. Leading and maybe getting in maybe being slightly inconvenient for them, but still not too bad. Craddock still 0.2 seconds, so Craddock is putting some good pressure on the Vel, but he's just dropped down slightly. Let's go down there. Craddock in the McLaren, Vel in the Porsche head. And Craddock's managed to put some good pressure on him lately. He's had him on 0.2 seconds for a really long time. So maybe a move down into turn 1? Maybe? No, he's not quite close enough. He doesn't have the exit speed. And Huben just dropped a position to Rebecci. Of course, Rebecci with that early pit, he's going to be trying to reserve his tyres. But, I mean, on a circuit like this, that's not really too much of an issue. However, I do see a dry track coming on at some point. Yes, we've got rain, and then in 10 minutes, clouds, so no rain. That means tyre temperatures will soar. And then another 30 minutes where rain will occur. Looks like Schubert just got past the Vanyos as well at some point. Oh my goodness, look at this. Schubert car 61. Yeah, so Schubert got past the Vanyos at some point while we were deliberating on other things, and now Schubert is back up behind Dutton. These two were fighting a little earlier on. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. The Vanyos only 0.1 seconds off Schubert. This little trio of drivers fighting for position. Morris now only 0.2 seconds off Marcy up in P3. And there's the move from the Vanyos down into turn 12, and he's got that move done. Schubert trying to get a response. Round the outside into turn 13, not a possibility. Morris only 0.1 seconds off Marcy. We've maybe just seen a little nudge down to the inside. Schubert down to P12, and Morris just putting Marcy under relentless pressure yet again. Schubert opts to pit as they go through the final section, so now Lavagna's half a second off Dutton down in P10, but we follow Morris now. Morris in his battle with Marcy for P3. The final podium position is that Marcy going slightly wide through turn 4, round turn 5. Here's Morris going round the outside, having a look, not quite possible. Forced onto the curb, not forced, sorry. He just went slightly wide, not forced, sorry, my bad, I know. And Marcy still ahead through turn 6 and 7. I thought there was potentially a move for Morris round the outside. We've seen some ridiculous stuff from this driver at Kailami before. The outside at turn 12 of Kailami, I believe. Newcorp, just that what do you call it, the hairpin just at the top of the hill is his favourite overtaking spot on the circuit. We saw a couple magnificent moves from him in season 3. It was quite awesome to watch this guy make some moves around the outside. And there's Morris opting to go into the pits. Topinka also just pitted. So now that the chaos of the pit stops have started, we can maybe have a look at some of the collisions. We've got a collision between Manchip and another driver. Let's have a look at this replay for a second. So here's Manchip, Simmons, and that was that little interaction where Manchip almost got taken out by Simmons down the inside. So that's a while ago, to be fair. It's not been too bad. We do have plenty of contact between Taylor and other drivers, though. Car 68 at the moment, can't see it on the leaderboard. Let's have a look at what happened here. So here he is on Curtis. Oh my goodness, that was a massive dive. Oh, and that's what started the chaos down at turn 12. Oh my goodness, that was messy. That move was from way too far back, I'm not gonna lie. That was not very clean. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Simmons just made a position on Huben, interclass stuff. Not that interclass is boring, to be fair. We've seen some great stuff happen in the interclass racing, and we've got another incident between Taylor and Malott. Let's have a look at this as well. Looking at it from the helicam view down into turn 1. Wow, Taylor opting to go for the late moves. I think we just saw that as Fox was coming out of the pits. We saw that moment a little early on. And we do have some contact between another driver, Novell, car 86, not currently shown on the screen. Let's see who this was with. And this was the 8-car pile-up. Oh my goodness, there was that chaos. Broom going round Craddock as well. Now Malott and Conti are only 0.2 seconds off each other, and a bit of close racing here. Conti in the GTR, Malott in the Honda. Conti being slightly upset by the curb on the exit of turn 7, slightly slower. Of course, every driver here has to make a mandatory pit stop, and that is only for fuel. So tyres don't really play into this, especially with it being wet weather. Oh, rain should be starting in 30 minutes though. It won't be raining, that's the thing. So could we see a drying track? Is Conti now down the inside into turn 13? Yes it is. He's gone wide though. Malott back down the inside into turn 13. Great racing between these two down at the bottom of the grid, and I think that is Malott opting to head into the pits. Yes it is. A little bit of close racing between them, and we do have plenty of penalties. We've got a couple of stop and goes, one for Peters, one for Schubert, and a drive through for Conti as well. I'm assuming that might be for jumping the race start. I haven't really watched the penalties too closely, so I can't really comment too much. Redhead about to make a move on Schubert at some point. We've seen Schubert's pace today, and look at that. Redhead's flash at Schubert to get by, and yeah, there it is. Schubert letting Redhead by in the Mercedes. Potentially scared of the surname. There's a hot head, Redhead. Hot being a bit fire, no? No, not quite. Anyways, Novell in the Porsche. A little further up the grid, maybe looking at a move on Taylor at some point. Taylor currently P4, Novell P5, Pfeiffer the final podium position for the Pro-Am class drivers. Potentially a look at Craddock as well. So a little review of the positions then. Well, let's do that after the pit stops are finished actually. I keep forgetting to do this. Just leave it until after the pit stops have done, because the amount of chaos that just comes from these things is absolutely nuts. 6 seconds between them. They're going slightly wide through there. 5 for 0.3 seconds off of Craddock going through turn 2. Pro-Am class driver trying to make a position on the Am driver overall. Into turn 4. Ooh, a little look. Trying some psyops, trying some psychological warfare on Craddock ahead. That would have been a very scary move down into turn 4. We've seen into turn 3. I was scared into turn 3 already, the move we saw from Schubert before. But yeah, into turn 4 though, that would be absolutely horrifying. And before we can comment on any of the positions, once the pit stop chaos dies down, we need to see whether everyone has made the pit stop. 0.6 seconds between them though, so Pfeiffer still just not quite fast enough to get past. Lembergs though, up in P5 overall and P5 for the Pro class, only 0.2 seconds off of Marcy heading into turn 4. And again, Lemberg's being very aggressive, and you can see he had to back out slightly into turn 5. Marcy opting to take the defensive line, and Lemberg's nowhere to go but brake and stay behind. So Marcy, I'm sure, going to be defending with all his might. P4 and Lemberg's trying to make yet another position. He's been on an absolute rampage today. He's been absolutely flying. And when I say rampage, I don't mean the bad kind of rampage. I mean good kind of rampage. Here he goes down the inside into turn 8, turn 9, round the outside of turn 9, into turn 10 and 11, and they come together. They touch, and that is Lemberg's past Marcy. Will he have to give that position back, though? I'm not sure. Again, Lemberg's is choosing not to wait until he can get to a comfortable passing position. He wants that position now. So I'm sure the officials, the stewards will review that. The stewards will decide on his fate. Meanwhile, Pfeiffer now on the 0.2 seconds off of Craddock. Again, very close between these two, but through sector 2, it just seems as though Craddock gains time on Pfeiffer. So Lemberg's then finally passed Marcy. It wasn't very long, but he's passed. And now Deeringer also trying to make a position. Of course, now the track is drying out, and in 13 minutes, the race is going to be done. So drivers who have maybe pitted for the dry tyres, obviously going to have a great run. It did cost them 5 seconds, but overall, if it's going to be a dry track for the rest of the race, swap to dry tyres, that 5 seconds is going to pale in comparison to the time you lose racing on wet tyres, wet tyres that overheat so quickly. Meanwhile, Deeringer also making a position on Marcy at some point. Marcy maybe still on the wet tyres, however, I think the difference in pace would be much larger if so. The Honda of Deeringer not too far behind, and Simmons pits now. I suspect the second pit stop though. Deeringer right up the back of Marcy, the Honda maybe looking down into turn 6. Is this an interesting overtaking position? Yes it is, but he doesn't get the move done. Marcy feeling the pressure though, and there it is down the inside into turn 8. Deeringer, no, not quite far ahead enough to be able to claim that corner. And Marcy just holding on, just giving enough space. But here it is on the exit, same corner as Lemberg's. Will the same thing happen? No, it is clean racing between them. That is Deeringer up to P5 as well. I was just looking at the fastest lap, but obviously as the track dries up, the track will just get faster and faster. Oh my goodness, and we just see Lavagnos in time into the back of Dutton. Dutton, what a recovery. What a good save from the Porsche driver. Oh my goodness, that was nuts. We just see these two just in time. There was 0.3 seconds between them. Suddenly under-braking Lavagnos, braking a little bit later than Dutton, straight into the back of him, and it was a good recovery. It was a good save from the Porsche driver. Hopefully he's not suffered too much damage. Pfeiffer now about to make a move on Craddock through turn 5. No, that's on the exit of turn 11. So he was looking at it, but not quite there. Not quite there. Anyways, back up to Lavagnos, 0.4 seconds between them still. And Simmons now 0.4 seconds behind Lavagnos. Now also looking at just the overall positions, and everyone has pitted by the looks of it. Everyone in significant positions, so we can finally review some positions. Rebecci, however, only 0.2 seconds off of Marcy. This is going to be something to... Oh my goodness, that's Marcy going very slow. What's happened to Marcy? Marcy's dropping down the grid. It looked like he had his pit limiter on, and he's moving very slowly indeed. What has happened? Last 20 minutes of the race, Marcy moving extremely slow. What's happening? Manchip getting caught up behind. Marcy maybe feeling the pressure. Oh my goodness, just lets him through. Marcy not having a good day at all. Looks like Simmons in all that chaos got past Lavagnos as well. Let's have a look at what happened to Marcy. I think he might have had a collision. Yes, he did. Car 16, that was with Rebecci. Let's have a look at what happened here. Right through that right-hander. Oh, was that maybe just an accidental? I don't know, maybe an accidental brake check? I don't know what happened there. What was that? So Marcy now into the pits. It definitely has not been a good day for him. And yeah, what I'm still not sure what happened there. It looked as though, yeah, that was on. So that's what his pit limiter looks like. That's what it looks like when he's got it on. So I think he might have accidentally switched on the pit limiter. Pit limiter obviously kicks in and goes bam on the brakes, or on the engine, I would rather say. And yeah, straight into the back of Marcy goes Rebecci. Jackson though, half a second off of Rebecci, not too far behind. Marcy of course pitting that all the times. You see dropping Lavagnos 0.3 seconds on Simmons as well. And now the track has properly dried up. The drivers who have pitted at just the right time with their dry tyres obviously still racing, very happy with their strategy call. But for a couple, I'm sure they're going to have to make a second pit stop. Still trying to hang on to that wet tyre. 18 minutes remaining. Pretty much a third of the race left to go. And the gaps between the drivers have opened up slightly. There's a collision between Malott and Topinka. Let's have a quick look at what happened here. Here we go. There's Topinka coming up behind Malott, and Malott just not fast enough to get out of the way. And Topinka says, "Hey, I want that position. I want to get past, mate." And Malott's like, "Oh, sorry, my bad, didn't see you." Lavagnos only 0.2 seconds off of Simmons, so some close racing here for P11. Lavagnos down into turn 13, a late dive, and Simmons, I think there was some contact there, Simmons having to get out of the way. Lavagnos being very aggressive today, plenty of action from the driver in the Mercedes coloured car. So now that all the pit chaos is stopped, we can actually go for a review of the podium positions. Yes, let's go. So Topinka, the race leader, Jordan P2, Morris P3. So it's great to see Morris finally up in a podium position. If he can hold it, brilliant. His first podium of the season. Topinka, yeah, I think that's a bigger podium for him, a lot more. Dutton now right up behind Pennell as well. Pennell suddenly out of nowhere, the AM class leader. Seconds there. I think my keyboard just died. Yeah, that's probably why a couple of the graphics weren't working. So bear with me, please, for the final couple minutes of the race, the last 15 minutes. Dutton now only 0.3 seconds off Pennell. Of course, you do not want to hit the rear of that orange BMW, because the BMW will be very upset with you, sir. Dutton in the Porsche, maybe making a move down into turn 12. Pennell thinking about it, thinking he's going to make a move, and they're all still safely through. Lavagnos got past Simmons, of course, through here, and that is Pennell letting the faster drivers through. Of course, he can just let them all filter through because he's got a 15-second lead on Craddock. So a bit of strategy from the orange BMW, some smart thinking. Let these guys come past, stop the pressure, just get out of the way, and then he can just keep doing his own thing. He's been doing brilliantly so far by himself as well. So yeah, let's go back for the review. We've got Topinka, Jordan, Morris for the Pro class, Manship, Simmons and Pfeiffer for the Pro-Am class, and then Pennell, Craddock and Rucroft, our top three for the AM class. So Pennell doing quite well this race. Again, he's had some good pace for the last couple of races. It's brilliant to see him perform. So for Pennell, if it stays this way, this would be his second race win and his fifth podium. Same for Rucroft, except minus the race win, he would just get a fifth podium. And then for the Pro-Am class, Manship would take a fourth race win of the season, fifth podium. And unfortunately, Fox is nowhere in sight. Simmons will take his third podium of the season, and Pfeiffer will take his fourth, actually. So Pfeiffer performing quite well as well. Performing quite good as well. English, not my first language. Novell half a second on Van Lagen, so maybe a gap to keep an eye on there. Lavagnos also, again, just these three drivers. This race has just been great to watch. It's really been interesting to see them perform. Minutes remaining in the race, and I think we might have time to look at another race replay, potentially the chaos at the start of the race, lap 1, turn 1. So we'll give that a look in just a moment. Once we get past this section, 0.4 seconds between them. There's a slightly big gap for Lavagnos to make a move. He's thinking about it though, making Dutton think as well for a second. They're making us think as well. Was that Dutton maybe slightly wide? I'm not sure, but I think we've got time to look at the replay now. And here we go, Dutton, turn 1, lap 1, I think, theoretically, unless it was just a 4-car pile-up. Let's see how this went. So there's Dutton, there's Simmons, there's Chaos, there's Redhead at the back. Oh, it was just a little tap compared to what I thought it was going to be. The Chaos of turn 1, lap 1. Dutton still ahead of Lavagnos, so no major changes. Nivelle back up to half a second between himself and Van Lagen, down in P20. Topinka awarded a 5-second time penalty, same for Lavagnos and same for Marcy. So penalty suddenly being handed out. And what makes that very interesting is Topinka is currently only 3 seconds ahead of Jordan. So this could potentially be Jordan's first race win of the season, even though he crosses the line second. That would bring Limburgs into the podium positions as well. Some late race drama potentially, some post-race drama potentially. Lavagnos only 0.3 seconds off of Dutton into turn 1. And Van Lagen just got overtaken by Nivelle a couple seconds ago. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Here's Nivelle. No, Lavagnos choosing to stay behind. Let's go back a couple seconds to see what happened between Nivelle and Van Lagen. There he is, just slightly wide out of turn 1. Nivelle in the yellow Porsche behind two Porsches battling. Whoa, what a move down into turn 2. Massive dive bomb from Nivelle. And wow, impressive moves. Great racing between these two Porsches for P19. And speaking of great racing, we potentially have a great battle developing between Rebecci and Jackson for P6. Rebecci in the McLaren ahead, Jackson in the Ferrari behind. Let's see how this goes. Rebecci, of course, has been showing absolutely brilliant pace throughout the last couple races, but Jackson now on the dry tyre compound. Maybe his car is set up a little better for the dry than it is for Rebecci. Let's see, half a second between them into turn 1. It's not likely going to be a move, unless of course they just go wide. Never impossible, always an opportunity. .4 seconds, 0.5. Kurt Peters only 0.3 seconds off of Rucroft. Ooh, Jackson starting to reel Rebecci in. 0.3 seconds, 0.5 seconds. He's got 10 minutes to get past. Rucroft just dropped a position on Peters. Taylor just dropped a position on Marcy. So some quick fire overtakes a little further down the grid. Jackson again, he's just putting Rebecci under pressure. Rebecci knows all about pressure. He's pretty good at putting it on himself. It's about how well he can take it, which is the question. Slightly wide into turn 7. And that has allowed Jackson to close the gap slightly. Jackson looking a bit racy here. Jackson maybe a position change up into P6. Let's see. Lavagnos only 0.3 seconds of Dutton now as well, a little further down. Just keep an eye on that. 10 minutes remaining in the race. Last 10 minutes. We're almost there. Jackson right up behind Rebecci now, out of turn 12. Again, he gets quite close through the second and third sector, and then as they hit sector 1, he just seems to drop behind a little bit. Into the final corner, Rebecci taking a wide line into it. On the exit, he gets a better exit. Jackson 0.3 seconds. He's got the slipstream. It dropped to 0.4 seconds for a fraction of a second just a couple seconds ago. Jackson looking down the inside. No, there's nothing there. Nothing there yet. Nothing yet. Keyword is yet. I think there will be. We'll have an opportunity, but now 0.7 seconds. It's dropped back slightly. Now let's have a look at some of the contact that might have started at the start of the race. See if we can get that lap 1 crash. No promises I can find it, but we'll do our best. Here we go. Conti involved. Let's have a look. lap 1 Conti, right behind Curtis, Rewcroft. So this was right at the start of lap 1, lap 1, lap 1, lap 1. As in like right up at lap 1. I don't like the amount of times I've said lap 1 in the last couple of seconds. Okay, maybe between car 343 and 19, that was Warburton. Yes, Warburton was definitely involved. Let's have a look. So chaos into turn 1. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh, and it just starts and it cuts off right there. There's Warburton going around, still racing down at P24. Great to see. It might not seem like it's such a big deal, but it's great sportsmanship to keep going, even though your race has been rubbish so far. Lavagnos only 0.2 seconds off Dutton as well. Simmons back into the race again. These three just keep us on the edge of our seats. It's been great to see them race and keep us busy while the rest of the grid stays fairly quiet down into turn 12. Simmons really close to the back of the pro driver. It's great to see Simmons put these guys under pressure. Now, I think the gap to Manship is slightly too large, so it might be worth maybe backing off just a little bit, keep the tyres going, but yeah, just not stand a chance for making a mistake in the last 6 minutes of the race, because it would be heartbreaking for Simmons to try and make a move on Lavagnos. Something goes wrong, and it's just a big mess for everyone. It just would not be great for Simmons, and I'm saying that also for Dutton and Lavagnos. Yes, they're not at the top, but it's still, it's their race ruined and not quite happy. Out of turn 1, Simmons doesn't think the same strategy that I'm thinking. He's still just going for it. He's saying my pace or the high place. Almost said highway. Didn't quite rhyme, so I said high place. You get it. Anyways, Jordan now only 2 seconds off Topinka right at the top. So, yeah, interesting there. And through turns 6 and 7, still that same gap between these three drivers stays the same. However, gap that's not the same as Jackson, 0.2 seconds at the end of turn 14. He's got the slipstream. Is there potential for a move into turn 1? Let's have a look. Is it? Jackson certainly thinks so. And he keeps his line slightly narrower. And on the exit, that means his exit is going to be slightly flawed, unfortunately. So Jackson, every time through sectors 2 and 3, I've already picked up the pattern. Through sectors 2 and 3, he catches up. And then sector 1, he's lost it by the end of the straight, and then he just needs to try and build up that gap again, close that gap to the driver ahead. Last 5 minutes of the race now. Oh my goodness, and there's Deeringer. What's happened to Deeringer? He's off into the wall. Deeringer car 55. There's no contact between him and another driver, so I think that is likely self-inflicted. Let's see if the replay brings up anything. No, unfortunately, it just brought up as he hit the wall, as he was recovering from it. Oh my goodness, no, Deeringer. He had such an exciting... He had a fairly good race, and now he's suddenly just out. Now he's suddenly just hit the wall, and that's his race over. The last 4 minutes of the race. I cannot believe it. Oh my goodness. Unfortunate for the driver who has opted to retire from the session. I do not blame him in the slightest. Jackson still 0.6 seconds. I still want to find that race start. That was so horrendous. There's Foxy and 343, whoever that is. Let's have a look at... Oh, Foxy just into the pit as well. Oh no. That is likely for a stop and go penalty though, I think. No, he's just come into pit. Oh man, so sad. So sad to see this happen. Okay, let's have a look at the replay. problems right at the start. Yeah, look at that chaos unfold. Novell straight into the side. Oh my goodness, look at that chaos unfold. 3436185 was involved as well. That's a lot. And yeah, unfortunately, I was getting excited there. Almost looked like an overtake, but no, nothing there. Lavonius now half a second off of Dutton, and Jackson just over a second. So he might actually have time to have a look at what happened there between car 61 and 85. Let's have a look. Is that more lap 1 chaos? Yes, it is. Oh my goodness. And that Aston Martin just was not holding his brakes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's the thing, is you need to hold the brakes. That's kind of the requirement when it comes to crashing. Yeah, there's a lot that you can't control, but you can still control how far your car rolls forwards or backwards when you're crashing, and holding the brakes just means it won't roll as far. So, Topinka still our race leader, Jordan P2, Morris P3 in the Pro class. Then it's Manship, Simmons and Pfeiffer, our Pro-Am class drivers. There's Alpha getting out the way of Jordan just behind. Jackson half a second off of Rebecci down in P6. Lavonius only 0.4 seconds off of Dutton, but the rest of the grid is fairly evenly spread out. Then for the AM class, it's Pinnell, Craddock and Rucroft. However, there are 5-second penalties that are being applied, including to Pinker. So that gap you see down to Jordan, 2.1 seconds, as long as Jordan can keep that gap there, that could be a race win for Jordan, potentially. We'll have to see at the end. But the first driver to cross will probably be Topinka. And you can see the rain just kicking back in now towards the end. And this might be the entertaining bit, as the drivers are probably on hard tyres. And they're going to be slipping and sliding around, trying to keep the car on track for just the last minute or two. I think this is really where the driver skill will start kicking in. The car handling techniques really coming forth from each driver. Lavonios also with a 10-second, is that 10 or 15 seconds? I can't tell, with a rather large penalty. And there we go, Topinka now across the line to start the final lap of the race, round 5 here at the Hungaroring. Lavonios still 0.6 seconds off of Dutton ahead, and the rain, the track will start getting more moist and more wet and more slidey on the last couple minutes of the race. Almost the last couple of laps. There is only one lap remaining. The other driver that sat with a penalty is Marcy down in P14, the pro driver. 3 seconds, Simmons on Lavonios. The rain's been on and off today. But yeah, and Jordan actually closing the gap to Topinka, 1.5 seconds. Look at this. So Jordan not only staying within 5 seconds, could there be a turn 12 overtake between these two? Final lap of the race. Who knows? Jordan is pushing as hard as he can. He believes in it. 1.3 seconds between them. That gap was about 2 seconds to start with, though. So yeah, the amount of time. Oh no, it looks like Lavonios. No, Lavonios is dropping down the grid. Yes, that is Lavonios going slow. Oh my goodness, at turn 13, what has happened? I don't know the look of that. Please keep going. No, he has stopped at the side of the track. That grey McLaren has gone into the pits on the final lap of the race. As Topinka comes around the final couple corners, Jordan only within 2 seconds. He closed that gap so well in the last couple of laps, but unfortunately it just was not enough to stop the unstoppable Topinka across the line as our race 5 winner for the Season 4 Championship. And Jordan is happy with the podium nonetheless. And Morris, his first podium of the season. It is finally time for the red Ferrari driver to celebrate up on the podium, and he of course is very happy with that race result. Great racing from our top 3, just consistent racing from them. And then of course Manship coming up on the back of Jackson now, actually through turn 12. Our Pro-Am driver maybe making a move. Jackson going defensive into turn 12. A little bit of last lap action between these two. I'm sure they'll be trying to keep it clean. They both know they just want to cross the finish line. They don't really have a squabble with each other. They are in different classes. It doesn't matter to them. Manship just needs to cross the line to take the race win for the Pro-Am class, and Novell, of course, in the background. Unfortunately, a lapped car. It's not quite there, but his manship and the podium is no strange place for him. He's back up at the top step once again. It is another race win for the McLaren driver. Simmons will take P2 23 seconds later, 23 seconds down the grid, and Pfeiffer will take P3 as well. Simmons has had a bit of an up and down race, and he did overtake Manship at some point as well, but unfortunately under the pit stops that just put him back behind, so I'm sure he's kicking himself, but he will have a chance again next race to fight for the race win, but it is a podium finish for him nonetheless. And then finally Pennell coming across the line for yet another race win. He just snuck into the podium positions, but it is a great race for him. Race win for the orange BMW driver, then Craddock, and then Rucroft. Do we see a race celebration? I'm waiting for it, Pennell. I know you want to do it. There it is. Or trying to, at least. There we go, and we can hear another car going round and round at the bottom. There's Pfeiffer in the background. No, it wasn't our top three for the Pro class. But yeah, that then is the end of the race. Wow, a bit of weather change. You know, the weather changed to a bit of dry track, and we then saw the action spice up as the drivers got acclimatized to that, but not too much, to be fair. But that lap one chaos was just nuts. So that then is the end of round 5 of season 4. And what a race it has been. Join us next week, again 7 PM BST for round 6, which is going to be at the Red Bull Ring. Again, Friday evenings, 7 PM for round 6. We'll see you all next week. Good night.